Hi, good evening. Welcome. This is the October 7th meeting of the Somerville Historic Preservation Commission. It is Tuesday, October 7th, 2025, 6:49 p.m. I'll call this meeting to order. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, this meeting of the Somerville Historic Preservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation. The recording of these proceedings can be accessed at any time using the registration link at the top of this agenda. And we have a fairly concise agenda tonight, but let's do our customary introductions before I get swept away. Starting on my screen with Ms. Price.
Hi, my name is Denise Price, and I live in a local historic district.
Thanks. We have Vice Chair Kelly.
I'm Robin Kelly. I am the Realtor member of the commission, and I'm a historic homeowner in Union Square.
Thanks. With Mr. Falvey.
Hi, I'm Ryan Falvey. I'm a resident of Ward 2.
Thanks. And we have Mr. Shagnon.
I'm DJ Shagnon. I'm the landscape architect on the commission and a resident of Ward 5.
Thank you all. And I'm Eric Parks, resident Ward 3, architect and historic homeowner. And we have several members of staff with Ms. Anthony.
Hi, I'm Madison Anthony, and I'm a planner with the Department of Planning, Preservation, and Zoning.
It looks like we have two more folks if you want to introduce yourselves. So no particular order.
Hi everybody, my name is Salvador Esparza. I'm also a planner with PPC.
Cool.
And Kristen is just our minutes taker, so
Okay,
no need
all
for
right.
her to introduce herself.
Hello. That's the unsung hero of the meeting, actually.
Yeah.
Take it. Okay, so the first case I'm actually going to recuse myself from because I'm technically in a butter, though I'm very distant. And so I won't even I'll just check myself out. And if Vice Chair Kelly would like to take over and introduce the first case.
Thank you.
I will make myself go away here.
My apologies, I've just lost my. Here we go. Sorry, new computer. So we're here looking at an alteration of a local historic district property. This is for 76 Highland Avenue, case HP 25000076. The applicant is Lee Liu. The owner is Lee Liu. And do we have Ms. Liu with us?
Hello, yes, this is Lee. I'm joining in the meeting.
Hi. So would you like to tell us a bit about your project?
Yeah, so I bought this house 1.5 years ago, and the windows, because this first time I own this type of home, and what the windows in the winter, I know they are rot. Some of them when I looks closely, they are what the woods they are rotten, and the windows they get you can see the winds, especially in the winter, coming. And I also checked some of the repair specialists, and they were very expensive, and also they won't solve the problem. And so I think almost all the windows need some work now and then, but the cost is pretty high. So I'm choosing some of the windows to be replaced, and then the remaining windows I will be replacing the next year or soon after once I get the funds and stuff. And here's why I'm here. Thank you all for joining and providing your guidance in this project.
Thank you. And is there anyone from the public who would like to comment on this property?
Vice Chair Kelly, this is Madison speaking. I don't see anyone raising their hands to speak right now.
Okay, so we'll close the public comment portion and we will come to commissioners for their questions and thoughts.
So looking over the application, it looks like the very distinctive latticed windows on the sort of central bay on the front and next to the door are not proposed for replacement. Is that correct?
Correct, but they need to be replaced. So if you can, if the committee can give me some general guidance about how they could be, worked on, that'd be good. Because in the winter,
Sure.
I would put in plastics around the windows.
Okay. But they're not part of this application, but if we have any guidance, you would appreciate it. That's good to know.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. They
Yeah.
are, they're drafty, very cold in the winter.
Yeah, I can imagine they're not easy.
Well, I have, bugs coming constantly from the windows.
Mhm.
Sorry, could you say that again? You have what?
Bugs. Those small, worms and bugs because the windows are
Oh.
rotten and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. I wish, part of me wishes that Eric did not have to recuse himself on this one because his architectural expertise might be really helpful in some of the questions about how to repair something like that. But
Yeah, so what I would like to do is actually sort of start from, and I believe, Ms. Liu, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you've spoken with members of staff regarding the process for evaluating window replacements, and what may be eligible and kind of what our guidelines are. Do you understand the guidelines that we are required to follow for window replacements in historic properties?
I read about at least 5 times.
Okay, so
But they are not so clear to me and what is allowed, what is not allowed. But I reviewed all the cases before in the past few years and recently, this year, last year, what was approved. So I think what I propose should be aligned with what was, in the other applications.
right, so we take each property by property because everyone is different. But we do need to first start with whether or not the existing windows can be restored, because where possible, that's our guideline, is that historic windows be maintained and that they be restored. And so if they cannot be restored, then that's something that we would need a report from a window restoration company saying these are beyond salvage. And when we do, when it does come to properties that have windows that can't be restored, there are then guidelines around the kinds of windows that could go back in. And we really don't like to see vinyl, for example. And the divides need to be true divides, as opposed to just the click-in plastic kind. And so you said that you spoke with Window Restore. Did they come and evaluate each of the windows in the house?
Yes, I talked to a couple of guys and they did. They came and the cost would be very expensive and it's rotten. All the, not only the sachets are rotten, the frames are rotten also. The frames holding the sachet. So they are very, I think all the windows could be restored if we want to, pay very high affordable price. I think the price they give to me, they are much higher than replacing with wood windows, clad wood windows.
Right. Unfortunately, we are not able to consider cost when it comes to making evaluations
So
around.
why the other windows could be, you know, approved for replacement, but the windows I'm proposing could be an issue?
You mean, why have we approved window replacements in other properties?
Right. And I
Because-
think all windows could be, you know, restored if they are paying, they could afford a higher price.
No, often they truly are beyond repair. If the wood is rotted, they just the material isn't there to work with. And so that's why a professional who handles antique windows is needed to evaluate. And so I think.
But this is something new to me, and that I need to provide a report. And now it's been like a few, you know, months after. Sorry, I think it's not personal. I think I understand, you know, you are talking from your preservational, you know, perspectives, but, you know, there are a lot of things.
So again, where we have approved historic window replacements in other properties, right now that's not relevant. What we need to determine is whether the windows at your property, whether they can be salvaged, whether they can be restored. And if they cannot be, then we would review
Why nobody giving me
replacements.
this information, you know, before when I, you know, submitted the, you know, application a few months ago?
Okay, so again, this is the first time that the commission that we are hearing.
I think that I look at the other, you know, properties that was approved for approval. My windows, you know, much worse conditions than what they had.
Okay, so again, what we've approved in the past for other properties is not what is on the table right now. The first step for us to talk about replacement of any windows is determining whether or not the windows that exist can be replaced, or if they can be restored.
So my question
rather.
is, why historic didn't give me any of this guidance in the past?
That's what I
Asking
was.
for, you know, I think I
I-
talked to them. They said, you know, it's not a, you know, I think it's very expensive, and they told me, you know, just to replace it. That's what, you know, I talked to a lot of
No.
people. They told me, and
No. No, so they would not be able to say just replace it. They may have explained that, if you want to replace things, that it can, you need to go through the process you're going through now. But
so how you know, why you know, I understand you need to treat, you know, each property differently based on their condition, but there should be some standards, right?
there are, and the standard is.
It's not, you know, treating me just because, you know, I'm not a native speaker or something. I'm not, you know, so I just give example.
Can we, okay. I would like commissioners to weigh in.
Yeah. I think what I am hearing is understandable frustration on Ms. Liu's part. That she wasn't aware of this, but yeah, as the vice chair said, you know, there's meant to be a process, and I'm sorry if staff hadn't communicated to you that having a written report from the folks that you had look at it that are telling you it's too rotten would be helpful. We've had plenty of cases in the past, as you mentioned, and I know, as the vice chair said, it's not quite relevant, where people came forward, and on the first application, we said, well, can you get us some documentation that the wood windows aren't repairable? And once we've seen that, I mean, if that's truly the case, and looking at the photos, I would not be at all surprised if you came back with a professional assessment that said these are not feasibly repairable, at least for some of them. And then we could talk about what alternatives to replace them with if it comes to that. But that I think Ms. Liu, you might be seeing the end product, which is when it finally gets continued through a hearing or two after people have come forward without the information, we've sent them back and said, can you get us some documentation on this? Then there's it comes before us again with that additional documentation, and then we can act on it one way or the other. Typically we would ask for, as the vice chair said, a wood replacement window or a wood and aluminum or something rather than vinyl. So we might get into the details of that, and sometimes that affects the cost consideration enough that it's not as big a difference if the window would be repairable, and
I'm
things like
just,
that.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think after talking to historic, I said I updated the application to replace all the windows with wood, clad wood windows, no vinyl, and I only picked the ones that's really in bad conditions. They were and were rotten, and and the other ones they're still leaking, and I didn't put those in it. I was thinking about to repair them and try to make sure that. And also the windows in the front, they are really in bad shape, and I didn't put it in the application.
We are not going to be able to approve windows for you this evening. We don't have enough information about the existing windows, but I can tell you the windows you've proposed are not windows that we would approve. So
Because
of their material.
which
So
material? Why is so special about the material?
because that's part of what we are trying to preserve is the historic material. And if
It's
a wood
rotten.
if a
It's
wood window,
rotten.
ma'am,
Yeah,
can
no,
you mute?
not the existing wood in itself, but what the materiality of it is. So in other words, we'd want you to replace wood with wood. Is that clearer?
I
We
will
understand that
replace with clad wood windows.
And so the windows that we do approve, when we have approved windows, are wood windows that have true divides. They're not click-in divides. So staff will be able to give you examples of manufacturers and styles of windows, the type of
I
windows
want to
that
be
we
able to
have.
afford it. Just let you know, I want to be able to afford it. I did a quote, and 2 years ago, last year, it was like over. It was close to $300,000 for the windows to be replaced.
That's
I
right.
want to be able to afford. And
It's a very
currently, my
big
home.
house.
I think currently the house is. I want to be able to get home insurance, just because it's historic and it's leaking. All the windows, they are leaking. Even the windows I didn't put in the application, they are leaking. And I said, put a video in the, in the application, asking if I can get, the guard or something, the windows fixed because it's leaking. Nobody replied. Nobody cares. Nobody replied. It's leaking inside, not leaking outside. I have to have a bowl and put it beside the windows to get the water and to capture some of the water because they are splitting in onto the ground. I think if I couldn't get approved, I think I have to abandon this house or just go ahead and replace what I can by myself. I have to go against the historic. If I couldn't get guidance, I have to do it by myself.
I'm not following what you're saying. I understand it's a big project and that it would be very expensive.
I will have to do it. If I don't get approval, I will just do it. If I get fines, that's fine. I'll pay the fines. I'm going to replace all the windows if I couldn't get any guidance from the committee in time.
well, you're getting guidance, ma'am. That the problem is the guidance isn't approval of what you're asking for, and I understand the difficulty. Have you talked to any of the window folks you've talked to about whether there are
It takes
Temp-
months for me to get a
Temporary measures
response.
that could deal with the leaking while you figure out how to address or work in phases, you know, one floor at a
I'm
time.
going to
or-
replace all the windows and pay the fines of, you know, do it without a permit. That's what I'm going to do. That's the only options I can do. I don't think I'm going to, you know, live here for another winters without, you know, the windows.
So unfortunately, we are required to follow
Yeah.
specific
I think I'm
guidelines.
going to apply to remove this property from the historic because I couldn't get home insurance for this property. And I've been, you know, looking around and all the, you know, home insurance companies have already quoted they didn't want to insure. And I couldn't even get a refinance to refinance the high interest rate, or I already got approved for the interest rate. But I couldn't get home insurance to, you know, move forward with the, you know, refinance.
Mm.
So this is a very difficult situation. I don't think I'm getting any help. Even I'm following all the guidance and all the approved cases. This is frustrating. It has been a few months, and I, you know, of email communications and applications. Now that's what I get. You don't approve. Then I'm going to, you know, go ahead and, you know, do all the replacement by myself. I'm not going to even apply for a permit. That's what the only thing I could do. If I get, you know, fine, I
Shut
will
down by the city. You will be shut down by the city. I don't recommend doing that, particularly in such a highly visible location. This is an important structure in the city. It is a historic
I'm going to
structure.
abandon it because this house, if I don't do it, they're going to be rusty anyway. Because the water gets into the house in the front of the, you know, the wall, because the gut is rotten, and I applied for the gut replacement from last year till now, and I'm still not moving forward. So all the water they're getting into the walls, and it's been a disaster. And the, you know, the bathroom they're leaking, and everything, you know, the house, I'm trying to fix it. Too many things need to be fixed, and I'm trying to do my best. But you know, if I don't get anything helpful, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just, you know, trash it.
So, I'm sorry you're in this situation, but it's a historic property which you purchased
If I
just a
didn't
few.
purchase the property was just, you know, being rotten. There was some neighbors told me, you know, if you don't buy this one, this property will probably. No, it was in really bad shape.
I've been in the property, ma'am. I've toured the property when it was on the market, so I'm familiar with the condition.
Yeah, do you want to come in again, and I can show you the windows, how they look like, and what the, you know, the storm windows, they are all fall out of place. They are, you know, they're very drafty. Do you want to come in and see again? I can show you how it leaks and how, you know, how the windows leaks and how they're rotten. I can show you one by one, and how the, you know, storm windows that all failed.
What we need is a report from an expert. So I am not a window expert. And so we need someone who
you
is
know,
an
they are wood,
antique.
they are all rotten, you know, from the pictures you can see it's
Okay.
rotten inside and outside, and why you need more, you know, actual evidence. I don't understand. The windows, you know, what the corners, they're all rotten.
And they
fall
can likely
apart.
be restored. If they can't be restored, then we need that opinion to come from an
I
expert.
don't have a month to wait for another cold winter. And also the bugs, you know, they're not, you know, the bugs came in constantly. That's very bothersome. And I have a, you know, 6-year-old, 6th grade, you know, son, and I think this is just a disaster. I'm sorry, you know, I didn't, you know, mean to you personally, but this is a frustrating, you know, very frustrating, you know, situation for me.
I understand. It sounds like this was not necessarily the you know, the project that you wanted to get into when you purchased the property, but it is a historic property. You knew that it was a historic property. You knew
But
that
I'm
it
not
needed
getting help, you
repairs.
know. Am I getting help, you know, adequate help from the committee? No, I'm not.
Well,
I'm sorry.
we are trying to.
We can't provide you with the approval that you're seeking. The windows are not satisfactory, and we can't make that determination until we've been told by an expert that the windows cannot be restored. So this is, commissioners, will someone please make a motion?
Yeah. I mean, I will say that if the applicant is interested in continuing this to an additional meeting and coming back with the additional documentation and possibly with some guidance from staff, a revised proposal on different windows, we might be able to get things expedited. Otherwise, I think that Vice Chair is right that we're in a position where we simply have to make a motion on it. But I think that requesting a continuance would have to come from the applicant, correct?
I'll need Ms. Anthony to weigh in on that.
Yep, that is correct.
So
So,
I think that's from, before I make a motion one way or the other, I think, Ms. Liu, that the choices that are before you is that we could vote on the certificate of appropriateness on the current application, and I think you're hearing the general sense of at least those of us who have been speaking up, that in its present state, this doesn't feel like something I could vote to approve. Or you could request a continuance, come back with that additional written assessment to back up replacing the wood windows, which is the first step we need instead of repairing them. And I would recommend that you speak with staff about what replacements would be acceptable to us. And, you know, if you get approval for a project that works, and then you have to do it in a few phases because of cost issues, the approval stays valid while you're working on the project. It has to commence within a year and it can keep going, but
It's
if
just
if
the
it's
way,
multi-phase, that would be fine. So there may be resources out there that you could apply for to help with the financing if you can afford some part of it on your own now or something. So, you know, if you'd like to request a continuance, that would save you the step of having to put in a whole new application, because it would simply be this one being continued to a future meeting, which would be, I think, wouldn't be the next one, but it'd be the first one in November, I believe, Ms. Anthony, would be our first availability.
I have to check real first. Just give me a couple seconds.
Is that something you're open to, Ms. Liu, or are you simply looking for a decision one way or the other tonight?
I will prepare the, request the document and try to get this, through as soon as possible. And also the other urgent thing is, I applied for the gutter replacement and I didn't hear anything back. I don't know if I should ask here or should I, because, that application, I didn't hear anything. And that one, the gutter, it's really bad. If I replace the windows and the gutter, they are still in bad shape, I don't think, the window will last long.
So there were gutter replacements that you were also expecting to be on this application that aren't there.
Because the historic advised me to put different things on different applications, don't put everything in one.
Okay.
So it was another application that submitted a long time ago, a few months ago, and I think I don't know the windows that that was not included in this application. Window replacement application, I don't know if it was because of window or because of the the gutter. The gutter is rotten up above because the gutter guy came in to clean the gutter and they told me the gutter really needed to be replaced because it was rotten. And so I think it's because of the gutter and also the window is not sealed well. So when it rains a couple of days ago, and all the water came in, and I have to have a bowl and for like 10 minutes and a half, it's a few gallons of water already came from inside the water in the house, and I was in a meeting and I got those accident.
Sure. So yeah, I'd suggest when you're talking to staff about next steps in this case, follow up with them on where the gutter thing stands, because possibly we can get things onto the agenda, even if they're separate applications, back to back on the same evening or something like that.
How can I
but-
trust that I will prepare the, required materials, for the next meetings?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
What?
Because, before, historic has been constantly asking me, to provide, documents and information, and I keep, providing, and at the
Sure.
end now, and during this meeting, and I'm told that, I don't have, those
Yeah,
required, evidence from the experts or something.
I'm
What
mean-
is qualified as an expert and stuff. So I think how can I, trust that I will get, the proper, I don't know, what's the difference between the people I talked to before and.
I understand that frustration. I mean, we're all city residents. We're all we go through this sort of thing, various processes, even though not all of us are in historic homes, but yeah, I understand the frustration, and we'll try to follow up on our end also and find out what happened with that communication to you. That said, we are where we are now. So I think I heard a request from you to continue this to the next available meeting and to get that information together. Is that accurate?
That's the only options I have, right? Because the windows need to be,
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we can get all this processed and get something done, assuming we can come to an agreement and a proposal we can approve so that you can have this done before this winter, because I understand the worry and the frustration there.
it takes
So-
2-3 months to get a
Yeah.
window replacement. That's what Windows guy told me.
Okay. Well,
But thanks.
Okay, so I think I heard a request in there to continue the meeting. So I would move that we grant a continuance to the next available meeting, subject to when Ms. Liu is able to get the documentation together to be negotiated with staff. Do we have to set a specific date now?
This is Madison speaking, yes, and the next available date would be November 4th. We also have
Okay.
November 18th if the applicant wants more time.
No, I don't want more time. I want her earlier, the better. Thank you.
Okay. Then I would move that we continue this to November 4th.
I second that.
Motion to approve continuance to November 4th. All those in favor say aye.
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 Let's do a roll call. Mr. Shagnon,
Yes.
Mr. Falvey,
Yes.
Ms. Price,
Yes.
and I will also say yes. Thank you, Ms. Liu, and staff will follow up with you. And moving on, we bring back Chair Parks for our next item on the agenda.
Back again. Okay, of course, I misplaced my minutes here. Here we are. Thanks for covering there, Vice Chair Kelly. It was appreciated.
Senator?
So that was our public hearing for an alteration. We have one determination of historic significance under the demolition review process. And this is HP 25-000075, address is 382 McGrath Highway. The applicant is Nicholas Tan. The owner is 382 McGrath NT LLC. And the proposal is to demolish a building constructed a minimum of 75 years ago. Is the applicant here tonight?
This is Madison speaking. I'm trying to promote the applicant, but he does not appear to be. Okay, there we go.
Yes, can you hear me? I'm Nicholas Can.
Yep, I hear you. Welcome.
I was having my project manager to talk to you guys, but I think he's probably away or something. So
Excuse me, Madison speaking. What is your project manager's name? I'm gonna see if he's in the audience.
he's Alan Lee. Is he here?
There's a Guan Hao Lee.
Yeah, Guanhao Li, but I'm not sure why he's not speaking.
Oh, he's got his hand raised now, so.
Ellen, you can speak for me, please. Worse.
He will need to unmute himself on his end, I believe, but might just be having technical difficulties. Oh,
I see a message from him. Needs a second. Well, while he's coming, I'll just tell the applicant, just a reminder, the process for demolition delay ordinances is a two-step process. Tonight, we're gonna have a hearing to review whether the structure that's there is significant or not, just in its own right, doesn't review its condition or alternate uses of the property. If we vote no, then that's it. If we vote yes, then we schedule another hearing the next month or so. And that would be where we review whether it ought to be preferably preserved or not. And that's a hearing in which we would review the condition of the place, the alternates to a more nuanced view of the property and decide whether it's feasible or realistic that it ought to be kept, or if not. If we vote no, then again, you're free to go. If we vote yes, then it begins a period of up to 18 months or less, depending on how things move along, or we would consider whether alternates to demolition or ways the project could move forward in a way that documents what's there, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the very abridged version of the whole thing. Did I stall enough? Do we have, is your person here yet?
I think he's here, but not sure why he's not able to speak. Maybe I'll shoot the explanation myself for this. So it is currently a 6-unit building right now. It's sitting in the MR4 zoning. So we are trying to do a development just to add another story above the existing 3-story building right now and make it a 4-story building. And we're gonna create a 15 units residential unit apartment within the building. So we're not intentionally to tear it down or anything to remove the building. We're just adding another story and to modify all the exterior because we think we'll be able to get it with no problems.
Hi, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can. Hello, welcome.
Sorry, my phone just had some problem.
That's all right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Alan, I'm already talking about our project. Just let me continue.
Okay, sure.
So, the reason that I believe that we are qualified and we have no problem by getting it approved by the historic commission is because our neighbor on the right side, 394 McGrath Highway, I know him personally. He just did a 19-unit development beginning of this year completion. He removed the entire building, tear it down, and build new construction. It's a 19-unit apartment building. But we are 382 McGrath Highway. We are only adding in a story. We're not even removing our building. We're just adding a story. And we're only doing a 15 units right now. So here's what we had on the table right now.
Okay. Thank you. So just to clarify then, you're not technically demolishing the existing mass of the building, you're just adding to it?
Yeah, we're just adding to it. We got rehabbing the entire 3-story, add another story. We are making all the exterior look better to look modern. Only that.
Well, would you demolish the little storefront there, or what do you have in mind for that?
We're not demolishing the storefront. We're adding from the top. We're not demolishing it, no.
Okay, so you'd extend out to the storefront. Okay.
Yeah.
This may be one of those cases where, if more than 51% of the exterior cladding is being removed,
I think it is
demolition. Yeah.
I think it's more than that's why they wanted me to do a review. It is more than 51%, yes.
Right. I will say, Mr. Chair, that just a reminder that, you know, what the plan isn't really germane to the discussion of whether the building is significant, although it's good to know that the plan is actually mostly to retain, I mean, unless we hate it, right? If we hate it and we say we'd rather see it gone, but
Right.
No, I was just curious if it sounds like
yeah.
you've done, and
I don't want to
obviously-
demolish it because it's costing me
Yeah.
money.
Well,
Yeah,
we get a
no,
lot
for
of,
sure.
I don't want to do that either.
we get a lot of people who demolish 49%, but actually do the whole thing. And well,
Yeah.
anyway, I think you've given us the rundown. Unless there's anything else you want to add, we're going to switch to the public comment portion of this hearing.
Right.
Okay, so, and if there's any questions that come up, you'll have a chance to respond. Any members of the public who'd like to speak about this case, please raise your hand and staff will unmute you.
Chair Parks, this is Madison speaking. I don't see anyone raising their hand right now.
All right, then I will close the public comment portion of this hearing. And we will take this matter up as a commission. Anybody have any initial thoughts on this? It's definitely a quirky little spot there.
That quirky building. I mean, it has
What
its
are we
original-
voting on, or what's the decision that we're supposed to
Well, I
make?
think it's
Because
just a
doesn't this
blanket.
come forth for
It's-
demolition review?
I think it's a
Yeah.
binary thing. It's like we
Sig-
vote yes or no to demolition, and what they actually do is we're not.
voting yes or no on significance at the moment, right?
So
I'm
whether
saying-
it's historically significant, which I would say
Okay.
it's not clearly part of any discernible architectural style. It does not contribute to the rhythm of the streetscape in any significant way. I just don't see enough there for it to be considered historically significant.
Yeah. I was gonna say
I
that's about
agree
how
with
I'm
that.
feeling too, Vice Chair Kelly, that there's, you know, it's quirky and it's interesting, but it's not particularly interesting and it's not notably quirky. It's just sort of, it's one of those, huh, that's unusual. And you know, if the end result of this process is that it's still quirky and unusual and looks better and has another story, then it'll just continue to be a Somerville building. And 50 years from now, when somebody goes to renovate it again and proposes tearing it down, they might see it differently.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's not enough there for me to consider significance on this. There's nobody particularly notable that was found to be associated with it. There's no architectural style to it really, that it's a part of. It's not a part of a group. It's not most of the things we look for just aren't there. It's not any particular detailing that's, I mean, other than the little diamond shaped things over the storefront, which on their own are not enough to me to make it particularly noteworthy.
I would agree with all that. I think the thing that most interests me is the whatchamacallit, the pediment over the storefront, and the storefront itself has been filled in and stucco and nasty rolling windows and such. But that to me, I'm actually more interested just in the history of the building, just out of curiosity, than I am that it stay there. I suspect that little kind of gigantic bay 3-part thing was added at some point and maybe had more of a neoclassical thing to it before it got completely covered up and windows ripped out. But whatever that is, it's entirely gone now. And so I can't really see needing to be a stick in the mud for this.
I agree with everything that's been said. But I would also like to applaud the applicant for working to maintain the building and not tear it down. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Very much appreciated.
Thank you so much. We like to keep the building. We don't want to tear down anything. Even though the ISD wants us to tear down everything because we are making the 15 units, but I told them I do not think that this project needs to tear down the building. because we're only adding a floor, and because it's the MR4 zoning, the lot coverage is already good enough. We don't need to increase much more on the lot coverage of the existing envelope. So adding another story would be sufficient for our interior space creating. So
Will you have a commercial on the ground floor still?
it is no, but our new proposal is it will be all residential. There'll be no more
Okay.
commercial.
So you don't have a mixed use situation with fire rating and all that then? Okay,
Yeah, now it is a mixed use, but it will be a strictly residential when it's completed.
I mean, it's not really part of what we're here for tonight, but you could see if there's any fun you could have with playing off the pattern in the front little storefront there, but it would be kind of absurd if it's not still going to be commercial. So I have the feeling you're just going to do a blank slate with all that.
Yeah.
We'll
Right,
see.
no more commercial, no.
Okay. Well, I think we've all said our piece. If anybody wants to make a motion on this.
I
could
move
get-
that we vote to find the property historically significant. A yes vote would mean that it is significant. A no vote would mean that it is not.
I will second that convoluted way of having to make the motion.
Okay, so we have a motion by Vice Chair Kelly, seconded by Mr. Shagnon. All in favor of this motion? All opposed?
Nay.
No,
And we'll do a roll call, starting with Ms. Price,
no,
Vice Chair Kelly,
Oh,
Mr. Falvey,
No.
Mr. Shagnon,
No.
and I'll vote no. And then we need to just go through our findings process, and I think that we pretty much parrot what we already said, which is that it lacks an association with an important person. It's not indicative of an important architectural style or period. It doesn't have enough integrity, and it doesn't really contribute to its streetscape. I think those are pretty much the whole list there.
Yeah.
I move that we vote to approve those as our findings.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion to approve findings by Vice Chair Kelly, seconded by Ms. Price. All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Opposed? And we'll do the roll call again with Ms. Price,
yes,
Vice Chair Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Falvey,
Yes.
Mr. Shagnon,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. There you have it, folks. Good luck with the project. Thanks for coming
Thank
to
you
us
so
tonight.
much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sure,
All right. Have a good night.
you too.
Aye.
Okay, on our agenda, I think we just have minutes is the only thing left. Is that right? Go
And
back.
CPC update if you've got one.
Yeah, sure. Does anybody have comments on the minutes?
We do not.
I read them, they looked great.
Yeah, I didn't see anything when I scanned them.
Kristen does an excellent job.
Yeah.
Agreed.
In that case, let's take them into one. I think we decided to take them separately, which just for process. And I keep flipping through the wrong window here. Let's start with the September 2nd meeting minutes. Is there a motion to accept those?
Motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second,
Okay, motion to approve September 2nd meeting minutes by by DJ, seconded by, was that you, Robin? I didn't have the video on. Seconded by somebody.
yes, there was
Myra.
me, Robin.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Hi.
Opposed? Starting Vice Chair Kelly,
Yes.
Ms. Price,
yes,
Mr. Falvey,
Yes.
Mr. Shagnon,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. And then we have the other set of minutes, which is the September 16th minutes. Is there a motion to approve those?
So
The
moved.
motion to approve September 16th
All right,
meeting notes.
motion to proposed by Mr. Falvey. Who was the second on that?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Ms. Price. All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Opposed? And we'll do the roll call again. starting with Ms. Price this time,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Falvey,
Yes.
Mr. Shagnon,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. So that's our official orders, our votable things. And then the only thing, yeah, the CPC update. I guess we did technically have a meeting last time since our last meeting. And we are in the process, we received proposals for the folks who have projects they want money for. There's some question about how much money we have available because there's a difference of opinion about accounting and when the new tax rate kicks in and when we have access to it. So we either have some number or a different number. We have chosen and started working with the consultant who's helping the CPC out with input for historic projects, really, which is, I think I've talked this before, but what sorts of conditions we were likely to put on projects, whether it's preservation easements or other things, ways of monitoring those projects, the possibility of bringing back some sort of a small grant program for people, things like that. So we have a little working group, and this reminds me that I'm supposed to get back to somebody at the time, so give me a little nudge. That's the status of things. Any questions on all that?
No.
I believe that next meeting, we're gonna be coming with a list of historic projects for us to vote on whether we support them for the CPC to consider for funding. So next meeting will be a little bit longer.
There'll be more update in the update.
There'll be more update in the update, exactly, and more deliberation. It won't be voting whether to what to fund or not,
Well,
but
that's true.
whether
Yeah.
we like them enough to recommend that they be considered. And that's about it.
All right.
Thank you all. And when is our next meeting then? It's the
21st.
okay. And we already know that Denise, was it you that we're not going to be here next time?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so we'll be scraping by for a quorum. Will you be around, DJ, next time?
I should be. Yeah.
Okay,
No conflicts at the moment, so.
okay. And the case on Highland Ave will not be heard at the next meeting, right? I think we gave them, because we'd otherwise need to bug Dick to get involved also. So, that's it. Thanks, everybody.
That we
Thanks,
vote to
folks.
adjourn
We
the
need to do
meeting.
the
Oh, right.
motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
now.
I
Okay.
forgot. All about that.
I move that we adjourn.
Thanks, DJ.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion to adjourn by Mr. Shagnon, seconded by Vice Chair Kelly. In favor?
Aye.
I,
Opposed? And we'll do our roll call. Ms. Price,
yes.
Vice Chair Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Falvey,
Yes.
Mr. Shagnon,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. So we're adjourned.
Great.
See y'all in a fortnight.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Yeah. Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
Madison and Alvaro and
Yeah,
Kristen.
thanks to everyone.
Thank you
Appreciate it.
guys.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.